Inspiration, brave action, and heartwarming journeys. This is what the Louise H. Reid Show brings you. Now, here's your host, Louise H. Reid.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me once again this wonderful Tuesday. I'm your host, Louise H. Reid. With listeners in over 145 countries and millions of iTunes downloads and ongoing podcasts, I'm here live every Tuesday to explore life and leadership with everyday people doing extraordinary things. People who take brave, bold action in pursuit of their dreams and goals and are here to share their journey to help you do the same in yours. Those regular listeners know I say this every time, that there is nothing more valuable than time. And so as a way of showing my gratitude to you for listening each and every week, anyone who comments on a podcast episode with the hashtag LadyBossLoyalty will automatically be entered into a draw to win exclusive Lady Boss Loyalty swag. So please comment away on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, or LinkedIn, and let's see who our next winner will be. Before we get on to today's guest, I wanted just to share a quick announcement of sorts, I suppose. It's September 10th today, and it is World Suicide Prevention Day. And so I just wanted to take a moment to honor those who have fought, to recognize those who still are, and also to recognize the family members of all who are impacted as well. I just wanted to share that I see you, I hear you, and I appreciate you. Now we have a crusader with us today of a different sort, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about our guest, Dimple Bawa, before we hear from her. So Dimple is a social activist, cancer crusader, founder and president of Cheers to Life Foundation, a registered nonprofit organization for cancer awareness and prevention. Dimple believes life is truly madly magical, even after cancer. Through her own battle with breast cancer in 2013, she chose not to allow the experience to go in vain. This was the reason for her founding the Cheers to Life Foundation, where they act as a beacon of hope to those suffering from this disease and to be a one-point stop of support of any kind to anyone who has been touched by cancer directly or indirectly. And sadly, that really is most of us, isn't it? Her own journey with cancer has been one of a discovery of self. It taught her how to listen to her inner guide and to connect more deeply with people. Dimple invites others to join in this fight against cancer so that we can imagine a day when cancer is just a zodiac sign and not a disease anymore. Dimple, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Louise, for the wonderful introduction. I'm really honored. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Truly, Dimple, the honor is mine. There is so much wisdom when you and I spoke. I mean, I gathered this from reading about you, but when the two of us spoke in preparation for you being on the show, your groundedness and wisdom was something that touched me, and I really walked away from that call, even though it was 1 hour that we shared together, changed. And so I knew that you'd be just a beautiful soul to have on this show. You are a woman who is a badass and who has a really kind heart. And I just think that's a powerful combination.
Thank you so much. I am really speechless the way you just spoke. I know it's straight from your heart and it touched me. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So I look forward to sharing this hour with you, where I really want to start to explore. Maybe we'll start sort of, I was going to say at the beginning. I guess it depends on where you want to define the beginning, but I want to roll back the clock a little bit. And I'd love to understand a little bit of your early years and who young Dimple wanted to be. And then we can sort of walk through what happened and some of the crossroads that you were at that informed choices that led to where you are today.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't really, right? It's just heavy. Deep breath. Here we go.
I need to take a deep breath and just go back to my early childhood. So as a young child, as a young Dimple, I had no clue how my life will go on. I was moving away or moving through life, I would say. I never believed in conventional education. And I was an average student, I would say, in my school. I got married very early, but I always look up to my mother for her strength. She was so very bold. The way you have your show, be bold, be brave. So my mother was one of those women. So I always look up to her that, yeah, this is what my idol is. And no matter what I do in my life, I just want to be strong. I just want to be fearless. I just want to be bold and brave.
I think that's really beautiful, and I appreciate you sharing that. I too have a brave and bold mother who I was fortunate enough to have as my mother and also as a guest on my show recently. And I know not everyone is as fortunate. Not everyone is as fortunate to have that idol, like you said.
Yeah.
And so can you talk to us a little bit about then what your upbringing was like and how that brave, bold mother figure so early helped to inform or helped you to garner strength, because you had to really lean into that strength during some difficult times.
I remember my early childhood years. I lost my father at the age of 5, and I don't have a single memory of my father with me because I was too young back then. I've always seen my mother creating a balance between her personal life and a professional life. She was running a business at a very young age. She was a widow. She didn't remarry for me because she wanted to give me a beautiful childhood. She was afraid if I may have a stepfather, so things will be different for me. So she took all the challenges what life threw at her. And I always see her as a fierce woman, where she can overcome anything. So as I grew up during my teenage years, where I was struggling sometimes with my studies, course and everything, she used to tell me, you don't have to study for me. You have to study for yourself. So it's up to you. I leave it up to you. So those were the years which actually, make me believe in my inner soul that I don't believe in the method of conventional education. There is so much of learning around me. She didn't impose any of her decisions on me. So I think from there I gathered that strength to look up to her.
Yeah, what a strong foundation. And what I find interesting, and I felt this too through our earlier conversation, and even what you're sharing now, is we really are seemingly worlds apart. You're in India.
Yes.
You've grown up in India, you remain in India, and yet what you just, the fierceness and the boldness and the strength of which you described your mother, that knows no geography. It knows no geography.
I know.
No culture, no language.
Yeah.
It is really a unifying, it can be a really unifying element for us as women and as human beings. I think that was really quite poignant.
Yeah. And my mother never imposed any religious activities or any family burdens or societal burdens on me as a child. Never. She gave me all the freedom to think and to believe in. She asked me, do however you feel like. I'm not imposing anything on you.
And so walk us through a little bit then how you developed yourself then in life and in leadership, and then how that readied you. Oh yeah, we'll start there. How did that? So what path path did your life then take as you started to get older and you started to enter the working force, and etc.?
I was pretty young. I was like 18 when my mother asked me, what do you want to do next? Because she wanted me to get married at a young age and settle down and everything, because being a single parent, she always felt that responsibility on her shoulders. And so that's how she just asked me one thing throughout my life. And I said, okay, whatever you decide, I'm game. Let's go to this next chapter of life.
Yeah, and so many lessons that you've learned along the way, obviously through those 18 years that readied you for what you were about to encounter. So let's fast forward the clock a little bit and tell us about the year 2013.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Let's fast forward the clock a little bit.
And tell us about what happened in the year 2013.
Yeah, 2013. That was a game-changing year for me. An unwanted visitor knocked my door and named cancer. It was stage 3B triple negative breast cancer. I was 32 back then. My daughter was 12. I was happily married and leading on my life, but then everything changed. My life went upside down. That's how it is.
Yeah, it's hard to. There's a pause there because it's hard to hear that. You know, I didn't live it, but it's as a woman and someone with compassion, how can it not sort of take your breath away? And so that unwanted guest knocked, and what did you choose? How did you choose to respond?
My first reaction was, why me? Like every other human being. We start to question ourselves. We start to question our family. We start to question God. Why me? Did I do something wrong? Why me? But the way I got the news from my doctors, and then we started meeting oncologists. I underwent series of tests and investigations. It took me about a couple of weeks. I was taking several opinions. And somewhere while going through the investigations, I realized what my mother was going through, what she had gone through in the past. Because she was diagnosed with cancer way back in 2003. It was a fight of almost 4 years, but eventually I lost her in the year 2007.
I'm sorry.
Then, you know, while going through with the investigations, I was just thinking about her, that she was handling everything all by herself. I have my husband and my family standing next with me, but she was all by herself. And I used to see a lot of patients around me. They were going for their scans, for ultrasounds, for other investigations. Some are accompanied by their family members, some are all alone. So I used to look at them and I used to think, I'm fortunate enough. First thing, I have my family with me. Second thing, I'm fortunate enough to afford all the medical bills. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was a changing point.
I admire your ability to see gratitude in moments of darkness, right? And able to see light in some of the darkness. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I remember when you and I spoke before, you thinking, when you were talking about your mother's experience with cancer, and how it then you were walking that experience yourself, all of a sudden now you had another perspective. With your mother, you were the daughter, the supporter, so an onlooker, very, very close, obviously, but you can't walk that walk. And then suddenly now, 10 years after your mum was diagnosed, you're walking that walk and able to see now her experience through similar lens.
Yeah. When I received my first chemotherapy, you are aware, everyone is aware that chemotherapy comes with a lot of side effects. Doctor prescribed you so many drugs and medicines to overcome the side effects. But those are just the bookish side effects of any drugs. Every individual behaves differently with the medicine, with the treatment. When I received my first chemotherapy, the amount of physical pain, muscular pains, and other things were happening in my body, the changes. I used to think of my mother back then, that I was being so close with her, so close to her, and then I couldn't understand what she was handling, the kind of baggage she was dealing with. I used to cry more for her rather than for myself. So that transformed me in some way, that when I used to see the fellow patients at the hospital, what they are dealing with, what they are going through, I can relate to them. I can feel their pain. So in the same way, they can feel my pain too. That actually erased the question by me. It converted into try me. Yeah.
Holy cow. Talk about taking it from a victim, feeling like a victim, to feeling like a victor.
You can say so. Thank you.
But
it was like, after seeing a lot of gap between patients and the doctors, I was like, it's not just me who's feeling this, who's having this kind of a weird feeling, why there is a gap.
Right.
Maybe there are so many patients around me, so many people around me who are also experiencing the same gap. So let's talk. They can feel the same, they can somewhere, like, they can feel whether I have breast cancer, other person may have lung cancer, mouth cancer, bone cancer, liver cancer, but the word cancer is there. So that was the connecting thing between me and any fellow patient.
So there's a couple of things that I'm reminded of. One right now is I'm reminded of a book that I read, and I wish it was on my desk. I'm surrounded by books, but I must have moved it. I can't recall the name of the author. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's right here. The Awakened Woman by Dr. Terry Trent. And those who are watching live on Facebook can see the book. One of the things that she said that you just reminded me of was that to find your purpose, you ask the question, what hurts your heart? And the way that you just described this gap that you identified as you were looking around the room, you sensed the gap, others sense it, maybe they only feel it and don't cognitively piece it together. You did. You did. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel a lot of discoveries, a lot of inventions have happened in the world. It's due to that need of the hour, and I feel somewhere cancer unleashed that power, that strength in me, that I need to bridge that gap. My experiences, my learnings should not go in vain.
And so then you really talk about then leaning into the the braveness, the boldness, the ferocity that you had within yourself and certainly nurtured by your mother. There's quite a difference between identifying a gap and having a desire to do something and then taking the action to do it. So I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about how did you really lean into that to then create this nonprofit that you did?
It started with a very small support group. Very, very small, I would say. After my third chemotherapy, I went for another scan. My cancer was gone by 90%. My doctors were really happy. Initially, they were the same doctors who used to tell me, stop Googling. They were like, stop Googling. I was
yeah,
like,
I go to Dr. Google a lot.
Yeah.
We all do, I think.
I used to be like, okay, then you be my Google. I have 50 questions, 30 questions, 100 odd questions. Tell me. Though they might be very silly questions for you, but they're very important for me.
Mm-hmm.
These questions are very silly. How can I take care of my scalp during chemo, during hair loss? How can I take care of my nails?
Yeah.
So I was like, that may sound very silly to you, but it's very important for me.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right, there's some dignity in being able to still take care of oneself.
Yeah. And then when they told me stop Googling, then I started questioning them a lot. I used to bug their mind, really.
Be careful what you wish for.
True. And then after seeing my second PET scan, they were really happy. They said, do whatever you are doing. Keep continuing. We are so proud of you. And that was the time one of my surgical oncologists, he said, why don't you write it down? Why don't you journal it, whatever you have been doing? I said, I don't need to journal it. I remember everything by heart because I'm doing it every day. Mm-hmm. It's a kind of a lifestyle I've developed in. It's not something you have given me any instructions. I've been reading, researching, and then applying it on myself. So he said, why don't you share it with other patients? It might be useful for them as well. So thereon, I started talking to fellow patients, their family members, their caretakers. Whatever best practices I was following, I used to share it with them. They were feeling good about it. They felt better after following those practices, be it nutrition, be it holistic therapies, be it using aromatherapy to sleep better. So anything and everything, maybe little things, but it was making a difference to their lives as well. That's how this support group started. Slowly and gradually, it was growing bigger by the grace of God, by the grace of supporters, volunteers. Then I transformed into a non-profit organization to be able to empower underprivileged section of the society and support the community in my own ways.
I want to add something to the list of, you said it grew through the support of God, through the support of the community, and I need to add through your brave, bold action. That is not to take away from the other two elements, but none of that would have happened without your fierce commitment to closing that gap that you had identified, and that's really inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to share one thing here. If we talk about statistics, the data, the numbers, survival rate, mortality rate, if we compare from US, UK to India, India has a huge population. Not all the cancer cases are reported. So we really don't know what's the survival rate and what's the mortality rate. There's a huge gap there as well. And then nobody is talking about survivalship issues. There are a lot of other entities, there are a lot of other policies and other healthcare agencies who are working to support people, to support patients in terms of conventional treatment, in terms of physical health. But there is psychological pain that comes with cancer. Nobody is really talking about that. Every patient behaves differently in terms of physical changes, in terms of side effects of the treatment. But at the same time, every patient behaves differently and takes this disease, takes in the sense, accept the disease differently. In India, there is a lot of stigma, social taboo associated with cancer, especially with women, with the loss of breast, loss of feminism, loss of hair. They are less confident. So there is a huge gap still, and that's what my organization is trying to fill in, and we are trying to break the cancer stigma. It is difficult.
What do you wish everyone knew about cancer?
First thing, we need to stop talking about cancer as a result of bad karma. It is so huge in here.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Second thing, we need to talk about cancer on a day-to-day basis to break in with the myths. There are a lot of myths associated with cancer in India. Cancer means death sentence in India. And it is not just in rural areas. I have seen it at urban cities as well. People go into their shell. They stop socializing. As we all know, we humans are social animals. Right? What will happen if we stop meeting people, if we stop interacting with people? We will not be able to survive. So we need to talk about cancer. We need to talk about cancer prevention. We need to talk about cancer awareness on day-to-day basis. And it should be in the way to empowering others, rather than creating a panic or creating a fear of cancer. The way we talk about other diseases. Cancer is nothing but a disease. We should not relate it to karma.
Right. I wasn't aware of that connection in being related to karma.
It is a very sad situation out here.
Interesting. Through all of what you have been through, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned thus far in your life?
Through my journey, the biggest lesson I learned, take charge of your life. Our life is temporary. Live one day at a time. Do not postpone happiness. Whatever makes you happy, do it. There are no right ways or wrong ways. One can see you either ways. It's just what you believe in, just do it. Go beyond all the difficulties and achieve what you want to achieve.
I think those are amazing lessons and takeaways. And I think it's possible to do all of those things when we decide that whatever is in our path, we'll jump over them. We'll jump over the hurdle. When you're faced with something like cancer, you don't have much of a you've got two choices really.
Yeah.
You do what you can to jump over it, through it. I'm not sure how to describe that. Or you step back. I think that there are other challenges in life where we can more easily choose the easy path, but it's not the one that takes us to greater joy, peace, happiness, success. So I really appreciate those takeaways and those shared lessons. What does success mean for you now? I'm sure it's changed over time, but what does it look like for you now?
Success means to me what I want to do and to what extent I can go, what I want in my life, and what brings me soul satisfaction. That's what success means to me. And even with my nonprofit organization, I believe, and even my team, we believe in overcoming cancer and celebrating life. That's what success means to me. It's like overcoming any challenges, be it cancer, be it anything else, and celebrate your life.
I've not heard the term soul satisfaction before, and I love it. What brings you soul satisfaction?
I realized the true meaning of soul satisfaction way back in September 2013. It was an incident. I underwent mastectomy a week back, and my surgeon told me about a patient from a very poor village. And he said that he's doing the surgery day after, and he came up to me to share a few things about her. And he said, I need your best wishes. I said, sir, always there with you. You don't have to ask for it. He said, you have taught me to contribute to the society. So this is going to be my first operation, first surgery. I'm doing it at no cost. So thank you for inspiring me. I just asked him one question that, can I go and see her after the surgery? He said, yes, you're more than welcome. I went to see her. She was in her mid-50s. And my surgeon introduced me to her. And the way we were discussing, and I was just talking about her health and other things about her family. And after a few minutes of our conversation, she asked me, who are you? Are you a doctor? Or are you a dietitian? Because I was guiding her on the nutrition. I said, no, I'm none of them. So I told her, I was at the same bed where you are right now, 10 days ago. And she held my hand and she started crying. And she said, you are so young. I don't believe that. I said, yes, I was just right there. I still have my bandages. Do you want to see? I showed her my bandages and she started crying. But after that cry, few minutes later, she started asking questions about my family. And she started giving me blessings. And I could see a positive smile on her face. She's become so radiant. Just out of all the fears, she started giving that radiant, big smile. And that smile gave me that soul satisfaction. And I was like, it was totally worth it coming here. Though I'm in pain myself, but it was worth it to see that smile on her.
What a difference. What a difference that you have made. And I think it's a reminder of how most of the time, I don't think we're aware of the true impact that we've had on someone. How wonderful that the doctor shared that with you instead of just going on his way and still doing good things, but not giving you the awareness of the impact that allowed you then to reach out and speak directly to this woman again, this just speaks to that we are all connected when we choose to connect on that level. You know, the connection is through our hearts, not through our heads.
Agreed. Totally agreed. The connection, you feel it here, right here. You don't have to feel that connect on materialistic things. You just share your journey, you just share your experiences, and you can just, you're in the position to share those lessons, and you're ready to pass on the knowledge. So you feel that connection right here.
And I agree on all of that, especially with the material comment, except for my shoes. I really do love my shoes. But apart from that, yes, it's all the soul. So if there's someone who is intrigued and, you know, wants they themselves have a pain and have gone through an experience that they want to start sharing with others, and are sort of sitting on the edge of their seat wondering, well, how do I do that? What would you encourage them to do the first step?
First step is acceptance. You have to accept it before you can start on with your fight, before you can start on with your journey. Unless and until you will not accept it, you cannot work on the solution, because you're stuck. You're stuck with the question. And while going on with your journey, on your path, on your way, with the treatments and everything, if anywhere you feel like you need any kind of help in terms of your psychological health, feel free to reach out to any experts. Or if anyone out there need me anytime, my number is there on my website, my contact details, my email, everything. They can feel free to reach out to me.
And Dimple, what is your website? I believe I have it in the show notes. If it's not there, we'll make sure it is there. So you can share that with those who are listening right now. What's your website?
Yes, my website is www.cheerstolife.org. You can Google Cheers to Life Foundation. We are present on all social media platforms. You can message me on Facebook. You can message me on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, wherever. Or you can email me.
What's your hope for this organization? Where is it going?
It's still small, I would say, because we lack in manpower. There is a lot of corruption in India. It's not hidden, but government is taking steps towards better healthcare system. And we rely on family and friends to support. My work is 100% philanthropy. And whenever we support a needy patient, we raise funds on our social media platforms through crowd fundraising. And my biggest hope is I want to see a cancer-free world. If not, at least we can try. And together we can beat cancer.
And you think it's possible to have a cancer-free world?
Why not? There's a disease called polio. It is 100% eradicated from India. And why not cancer?
I love it. Why not?
At least we can try for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know I alone cannot make it, but together we can. Why not?
I love. Why not? A powerful question. Powerful 2 words. Why not? Who keeps you going? Who inspires you?
A lot of people.
Mm.
I take inspiration from a lot of people around me. Someday, my daughter, someday, be it my domestic helper, someday, a nurse at the hospital, someday, there are so many patients I talk to. They inspire me a lot. A lot. I feel at the end of the day, my God, they're the real heroes. I was fortunate enough. I didn't have to go out of my comfort zone to earn my bread and butter during my treatment, during my journey. But there are so many women out there. They are looking after their house, they're looking after their kids, they're looking after their work. And at the same time, they're dealing with treatments such as chemotherapy, surgery, radiations. They are the real heroes. I always call them, you deserve a pat on your back. I am nothing in front of you. I was full on drama queen, Louise, if I tell you. Full on. My daughter is not here right now. If I can connect her with you, she would say, oh my God, she was a hell of a difficult person to handle. I showed so many tantrums during my treatment. My doctors used to be scared of me. They're like, oh, here she is again. I was so demanding. I am still a very demanding person.
Mm.
I think that also keeps me going because I demand more.
Mm.
And at the same time, I try to give more, but I demand.
I think we need that. We clearly need that. Do you ever have any moments of self-doubt?
I think we all have that.
I think so.
Yeah, we all have that.
And so how do you build yourself back up in those moments?
I try to indulge in self-care. And self-care is very personal. Everyone has a different things related to self-care. Some people would like to go to spa, listen to music, go for a coffee, go for shopping. Even right now, if you're drinking a cup of tea, so that's also a kind of a self-care. So I just try to indulge myself in self-care, listen to some good music, talk to a friend, and just vent out. And anything that peps me up a little bit. Sometimes I cook. Sometimes I would just prepare a simple salad. It's like a self-care because I'm putting right fuel in my body. I'm nourishing my body. And I believe your physical health and mental health goes hand in hand. There is no doubt about it. If your mental health is intact, your physical health will be good. And if you are taking care of your physical health, your mental health will be in balance. So you have to keep that harmony between the two. And rest, emotional, psychological, spiritual health can be taken care of.
I think that's a very interesting concept. And I would suggest in North America, that harmony is somewhat disturbed. And I think that everyone's in a race to find harmony, to find a little ironic that we're racing for a sense of peace and spaciousness and health. Going on a bit of a tangent here, but related, meditation and yoga is something that has taken off in recent years here in North America and become much more mainstream. And yet I find it interesting when I really like being an observer. I'm fascinated by people. And so I'm often in an observer role, and I love people watching. And so when I'm watching people race to yoga or race to a meditation class to do the thing that's supposed to create balance and harmony, and then they race back to wherever they have to get to next. And right now I'm just sort of observing that and finding that interesting. But it certainly isn't, I don't think it's the right way, or a very aligned way to peace and harmony, as you called it.
Everyone is different. Even no two siblings are same. So people have their different choices when it comes to yoga, meditation. I'm not a kind of a person who's so much into meditation. So a lot of people tell me, I am quite a hyperactive person. If I want to do something, I want to do it right now. If I don't want to do it, I will not even do it for days or for weeks. I will just keep overlooking that stuff. So I would say it's a very personal choice, and it's a very vast thing. But yes, to have a balanced life, a bit of exercise, a bit of good nutrition, harmony in your personal and professional life is needed. So if you're okay, if you are able to create that balance, then sure, everything just goes on its own. You don't have to force things.
Yeah, I remember a colleague of mine previously saying to me, and I know I've mentioned it previously on my show, is she said, and this really helped me with this whole notion of balance, which I'm not sure that I agree with the concept, but I think that the balance sort of suggests that at any one time things have to be in balance. That I feel like that's what people are searching for. She said to me, you can have everything that you want, not at the same time. And I thought that was that certainly stopped me dead in my tracks and gave me pause for thought. And I think that's what sometimes we need to slow down and actually just connect. You were talking about self-care, and I think that self-care can exist in the smallest of things if we choose to just take a breath and be present in that moment. That can be an act of self-care.
Yeah.
So we're at the top of the hour, so finishing up the show, I just wonder if you have any words of wisdom, a favorite quote, or anything in particular, final message that you'd like to share with my audience.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Louise, for this opportunity, for giving me this prestigious platform to come and share my journey.
You're so welcome.
Secondly, I would like to say all the people who are listening to me now, believe in yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Your life is very precious. Don't risk it for anything. Just live in the moment. Live one day at a time. Try to create a harmony in your personal and professional life. Be happy. Spread happiness. Experience and see things and be in the state of mindfulness. Be in the state of gratitude. I know it can be very tough. It is not easy. But the moment you will decide that this is what it is, and now what's next, you'll be able to take care of everything, no matter how big or small it is.
Beautiful words and insights, Dimple. Thank you for sharing those closing thoughts. And of course, thank you so much for all that you do in your work to fight cancer and support others who are faced with it directly and indirectly. And thank you so much for your time today.
More than welcome. Thank you so much for all the love, all the respect. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. And of course, I want to thank all of you as well, my loyal listeners and followers, and remind you that information about my radio show and guests can be found at louisehreid.com. Also, as always, a big shout out to two important men in my life, my producer, Cameron Steele at Contact Talk Radio Network, who this show would not be possible without, and my life partner and love, Jay Andrews. I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite recent quotes that goes, be bold enough to use your voice, brave enough to listen to your heart, and strong enough to live the life you've always imagined. And also in closing, we heard from Dimple, believe in yourself, spread happiness, be in a state of gratitude. Until next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm Louise H. Reid, wishing all of you an amazing day. Goodbye, friends.